Welcome back. Well, one of the most interesting parts of the world right now is Hong Kong, and what's going on there is just fascinating, I think, for the whole world to see. And with me is Peter Chun, who lives there, and you're also the founder and managing partner of Silverbear Capital, which is based out of Hong Kong, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, you know, I was telling you earlier, just watching what they're doing there and those young kids, and they've been at these protests for so long. I mean, what's your sense being there of how all this is unfolding?
Well, I think a lot of people do concern about Hong Kong in a way whereby actually it's one of the major financial centers for Asia. And obviously there is an internal issue right now with regards to you see the people on the streets trying to fight for a theory of theirs. I mean, this actually have caused a tremendous impact in the economy.
Of course, Hong Kong was, as you mentioned, a financial center. I mean, you used to think, you know, it was Hong Kong and London and New York, but, you know, maybe some people are not as eager to list companies in Hong Kong as they were in the past because of the uncertainty of this.
That's absolutely. I mean, I'm sure that there is a negative impact with regards to people thinking about going to Hong Kong for listings. But however, as you can see, Alibaba did their IPO there.
Well, that was a great example, right? That it's still okay to list in Hong Kong. So.
Correct, and it was oversubscribed.
Yeah.
And it's doing pretty well. Now, it's one of the first ever situation that we have seen in Hong Kong right now. While there is a significant demonstration in Hong Kong, while the capital market did not react in the same direction. So I think it's interesting how investors are going to see the future of Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a sign of faith.
Now that vote that they took just this week, which is what, 90% voting for democracy, how do you think that's going to play in the future? I mean, is China going to be like, okay, we'll back off this a little bit, or what do you think?
Well, I think China has been always trying to upkeep the hybrid systems in Hong Kong, which is kind of a system where they try to blend the old system left from England and the China system. So this system has been working so far so good until now. And I think Beijing is trying to keep the promises. So I found after the vote, I mean, obviously the vote now kind of clings towards the protesters a little bit, and I think nobody wants to run Hong Kong down to the ground at all. I think both parties wanted to kind of resolve this, although you know impact action has been done to make people realize, you know, there is a problem.
So I hear this sounds optimistic, which is great.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, what about trade? So the markets seem to think that a trade deal with China is coming, or at least maybe a delay of the tariffs, or some kind of progress is being made. How do you read that situation?
Well, I mean, the trade talks has been continued. Both ends has made certain understanding or negotiation with each other. The trade talk has prolonged it longer than everybody's thought, because the longer it is impacting both economy very deeply on numbers. Now, maybe it is going to work out in the end, but hopefully when it does work out, there is certain solutions to hopefully repair both economy with what's been given up doing the trade talk.
Well, we've got an election next year, so that kind of throws a whole nother kind of wrench into the talks, and just another uncertainty. Do you think that will impact?
That will definitely impact. I mean, again, I believe it's just time for both parties kind of to look at working together rather than trying to leverage this for their political purposes, if there is anything to do with that. Mainly because, I mean, the trade talks is impacting local economy with regards to employment, consumer products pricing. I mean, this is going to not help with any leaders election if this continues to happen.
Okay, so just finally, kind of what is on your radar screen? Being in Asia, what things are you watching as an Asian investor that maybe the U.S. isn't watching right now?
Well, to be honest, a lot of the Asian investors were clinging on to the Hong Kong stock market for the last 10, 20 years. And obviously with the demonstration going on, there is a certain outlook in putting money outside Hong Kong. That's basically the current situation. So Singapore being kind of very stable. London because of the leaving European
Brexit
problems. So basically one of the biggest game in town is basically US.
So many things going on all over the world that are kind of undoing long-standing organizations that we've had for decades. You know, the EU, and the US is divided, and in Asia we don't know what's going on with Hong Kong and China. So there's just a lot of uncertainty and disruption right now.
Definitely, and then I think it will be interesting to see how everything dies down after the new year.
Thank you so much, Peter, for coming in. Always interesting to hear your thoughts about what's going on in Asia and how it relates globally. So
thank you very much.
Okay, and thank you as well for joining us. We'll be right back.